Hello, yogis. I thought I would try something a little bit different today. So instead of writing a blog post, I'm going to vlog about it or make this little video just to talk to you and see how that goes. And it was easier for me because I didn't have to write anything down. I hope you guys are all doing well. And what I wanted to talk to you about today was my experiments and adventures with biphasic sleeping. So if you've read the blog at all or done any of my videos, you know that I'm very into sleep and sleeping well, and that when I was really ill, I had a lot of problems with getting to sleep, staying asleep, and was on all these different sleeping pills, and none of them had any lasting effects, and I had tried all these different things, and nothing really worked until I developed a more regular yoga and meditation practice, and that really helped me so much. But I'm still always looking for ways to improve my sleep and to sleep better. And so I decided to try biphasic sleeping. And what biphasic sleeping is you go to sleep just after sunset for about 3 or 4 hours, and then you wake up for about 2 hours, and then you go back to sleep again before sunrise, again for another 3 or so hours. And the idea, and I should mention that biphasic sleeping is part of a bigger idea of polyphasic sleeping. So have you ever heard of a siesta in warmer countries? That's part of polyphasic sleeping. So some people will do it in 2 or 3 or many. I don't know if you've ever heard of I can't remember now. I'll have to look this up and include it in the blog post. But there was some famous inventors and Renaissance men who said they slept only every 4 hours for 40 minutes or half an hour or something like that. So all those things can be polyphasic sleeping. Now, the argument for biphasic sleeping is that way back when, before electricity, this is how most humans slept because it got dark, and especially working class people because they had been out doing physical labor all day and it got dark, and what else were they going to do? So they would go to sleep. But then because they went to sleep usually pretty early, because it was just after dark, or maybe even just kind of passed out from exhaustion, which, I mean, as I'm sure you know, is very different than a full night's sleep. They would then wake up in the early morning hours, and they would have that time to themselves. So it was often a very spiritual time. People might meditate, they might write, they might talk to their loved ones, they might make love. So it was kind of like a very nice spiritual time for people, and then they'd go back to sleep, and apparently that's how a lot of people's sleep cycles worked for a long time until we kind of developed this 8-hour sleep cycle, and a lot of people still have siesta today, so we can kind of see there, they could sleep from anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 hours on their siesta, and then again at night. And so yeah, the idea is that we used to do this, and some people still do it naturally, and it may be more in line with some people's circadian rhythm, so they might end up sleeping better and need less sleep if they follow a biphasic or polyphasic sleep pattern than if they follow what we usually do, which is the 7 to 9 hours a night sleep, or what we hope we do. But I know with chronic illness, we're not always doing that. So I decided I wanted to give it a try. When I was younger, I always loved being awake late at night and in the middle of the night. I loved the quiet. I loved that I could read or write or do whatever it was and not be disturbed. And there was just something very magical for me about that time. Even now, sometimes I still stay awake absurdly late, and it feels like a guilty pleasure. I love that time of night. So I decided that I was going to give it a try. And I read a lot of articles about it, and everyone kind of said the first few weeks is really tough while you adapt and you're going to be tired. But once you adapt, you're going to feel great and you're going to get more done and you're going to need to sleep less, etc., etc. So definitely the first few weeks were tough. But I could see also how it was nice. I mean, I would kind of get up and maybe do a bit of yoga, do a bit of reading, or watch a movie. And it just kind of felt like these stolen hours of the night, which was really nice. But then what kind of happened for me is that it didn't end up getting any easier. So at first I knew it was going to be a struggle to get out of bed. So I thought, I'll read or write from bed, or maybe just hop to my desk, not really fully get up and then go back to sleep. And that was okay. But then when it came time to fully be awake during those hours and to do maybe a bit of work or to do something productive, it was harder to get up, and then it was also harder to get back to sleep. So when I fully woke up, which is kind of what you're meant to do, I found it hard to then fall back asleep. Another thing that I struggled with was the going to bed early enough, and I think this is probably where I failed, and I'd be really interested to hear if anyone else has tried this at all and how they dealt with this. But I was really, so the sun was setting where I was around 9 p.m. for most of the time I was doing it, and I was struggling to go to bed before then. Oftentimes, if I was socializing or whatever, I wasn't back until around them, and then by the time I was ready for bed, it was closer to midnight. Or, I mean, as I said earlier, I'm just kind of a night owl. So, I might have all intentions of being in bed by 9:30, but then being in bed and I would read and I would write or watch TV or do any of those things, and again, not get to sleep till closer to midnight. So then when I was waking up around 3:30 or 4, going back to bed around 5:30 or 6, it was already starting to get light out. So I think I kind of sabotaged myself there. I wasn't in line with the circadian rhythms. And I think maybe if I'd really committed to going to bed earlier, I might have had a different result. If I was going to bed at 9 or 10, waking up at 1 or 2, and going back to sleep around 3, and then waking up maybe around 7 just after sunrise. And I think that probably would have been more natural, but it just didn't work for me. Because while I was doing this, I was back home. I wanted to be surrounded by family and friends and do things, and it didn't work for me at that time. So my experiment in biphasic sleeping was a failed one. So I'm now back on my 8-ish hour sleep schedule. I do sometimes still take a siesta in the afternoon. I find it very helpful sometimes, especially if I've not had the best sleep or the most hours of sleep the night before. And I have always been a fan of naps, actually, a power nap or an afternoon nap. So I guess without knowing it, I kind of was a polyphasic sleeper already. But the style of polyphasic sleeping to wake up in the middle of the night didn't really work for me. What I was also curious about is when I used to just wake up in the middle of the night no matter what, or like nights when I still sometimes wake up. If I would be better off fully getting up rather than lying in bed and trying to go back to sleep or waiting to fall back asleep. I would be better off to get up for a couple hours and then go back to sleep. So that might be my next experiment. So I'd really love to hear what you guys think about this. If you've tried it, you're interested in trying it, especially if you have trouble staying asleep through the night. I would love to hear maybe if you've experimented with staying in bed versus getting up in that time that you're awake. And if you'd like to learn a bit more about sleep and how yoga and meditation help me sleep and some other things that I've done and tried that have helped me with sleep or that I've tried and have not helped me with sleep, you can read some more in my blog, but most of the information is in my 6-week online yoga course, which is coming up October 17th, and this runs a few times a year, so if you're watching this after October 17th, just head over to my website at arogayoga.com and the next dates will be up there. So we have a whole section on that course dedicated to sleep. And I've enjoyed making this first video blog, and I'm really excited to hear what you guys think about sleep and biphasic sleeping, and maybe put in the comments anything you've tried that maybe was a bit strange to help you with sleep, but either helped or didn't help, kind of what your results were. All right, thank you guys, bye.